great. Can I just say, I am blessed and honored to be here this evening. I want to say thank you for sharing your church and your pastor with me. Man, y'all just got such a good pastor here. He's not paying me to say that. I'm just saying, like, he has been so instrumental in our lives. I mean, your pastors, Pastor Ashley and Michelle, have just been so instrumental in our lives of helping us navigate how to be married, how to strengthen our marriage, how to equip our kids with the tools they need, how to grow our church. And man, just everything that you do by coming here has just made that available. And so I want to honor y'all. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and just the impact that you have in Houston. So I want to share just a little bit about me because the study shows that if you see pictures of my family, you'll listen to me more. So can we throw my family up there real quick? This is my beautiful wife and children. I know, don't they just, come on, y'all. Like they traveled some windy roads to be here and didn't whine not once. I'm just saying, y'all did a phenomenal job. It was so great. My oldest son, Christian, who is with the blue shirt, is at High Point right now, which is in Hot Springs, Arkansas, at Christian Ministries there, and he's having a blast growing in the Lord. It's a blessing to see y'all all front seats, front row worshiping as well. And so we are just kind of give you the understanding. We are Christian Ministries in Houston, so everything that you do here, I mean, we're doing there. We have CMA, we have mentorships, we got discipleships. We're trying to just bring what you have here to Houston. And so the more that you grow, the more things that you do, we're just going to come, and it takes him, 20 years to do it. We'll do it in 20 days because we're going to learn from all the things that didn't work, and we're going to implement. It's going to be great. So I wanted to show you just a picture of our CMA students. I have my personal kids, and then I pastor a bunch of other people's kids too. And our church has probably a good 70 to 80 members. 30 of those are all kids. And we're blessed to be able to say that 100% of our kids in our church go to CMA. And so, man, we're just seeing the Lord do some really good things. So, you have been in the book of Romans. And as Pastor Ashley had said, it's not necessarily a verse by verse. And so I was going to preach on Romans chapter 5, and I got to the first word, therefore, and I just couldn't make it past that because therefore has so much meaning. Therefore is what you call a conjunctive adverb. It means that now that you have been in one spot, you then have to respond differently because of where you just were. So it is Jesus dying on the cross and saying, therefore, now that I've died on the cross, therefore go and make disciples and baptize and teach. Like, because I'm finished with my great work, now there is a response to you. And so Romans just jumped in real quick with the word therefore. I knew I couldn't preach that. So we're going to be 2 Kings chapter 5. I didn't even try. I gave up and I said, we're going a different direction. And 2 Kings chapter 5. 2 Kings chapter 5. I want to give you I want to preach like I'm in my own home. Can I do that? I move around a lot. I speak fast. I'll try to slow down. If I'm going too fast, just throw your hand up in the air. And how many people that we have married here? Raise your hand if you're married. Love it. Raise your hand if you're single. All right, raise it up higher, happy, proud, and look around, I'm just saying. Thought I'd help you out there. Okay, that has nothing to do with my message. I was just trying to help out some singles. 2 Kings chapter 5. The king of Aram had great admiration for Naaman, the commander of his army, because through him the Lord had given Aram great victories. But though Naaman was a mighty warrior, he suffered from leprosy. This is going to be so good. I'm excited. Let me give you the quick skinny. That's how we say the short recap of how this played out. My beautiful wife was born and raised in a small town outside of Little Rock, in a city called McRae, just outside of another town. And she grew up around 5,000 or so people. She has an encounter with the Lord, and the Lord leads her to me. And it was the best thing for her. I brought her all the way to Houston, and little did she know that she married a Houstonian, a city person who wants nothing to do with the country, nothing to do with outdoors. My envision of being outside is YouTube. I will YouTube fireworks. I'll YouTube sceneries. I'm the guy that in my room there are TV screens as windows, and I can choose what kind of scenery that's how I grew up. And so as we were dating and in our early years of marriage, I told her like, hey, I don't do outside, not because it's too hot or whatever. Like it's just I'm allergic to insect bites. That's what she did. She laughed at me. You country folk all the same. She laughed, and years go by, and I get stung or bit by spiders and ants, and they swell up, and I'm talking about like big, bulging pus ball on top, and oozing out when you pop it, and so eventually, after 15 years, she learned to recognize, oh, wasn't lying, he's like allergic. Okay, just keep that in the back of your mind. So we go to visit her family, and we're out walking around some trails, and my lovely, beautiful wife has the thought of going off trail and going deeper into the woods. And for those of you who are not married, but those of you who are married, you know that when your wife wants to go deeper, you say, let's go, baby. And so I learned that at a marriage conference. And so I was like, all right, I am here to have fun. And so we are going to go deeper. And so as we go deeper, everything is good. No big deal. We left with no issues. Until later that night, I feel an itch in my ankle, in my shoe, on my knee. And all of a sudden, I found out I had chiggers. It gets better. From my knee down to my ankle, I found 24 bites on one leg. And we were having a competition between me and my kids. I have Latin blood, if you can't tell, like I'm a little burnt. And so I'm a little sweeter because of that. And so I gravitate mosquitoes and ticks and fleas. She didn't get not one, but this Mexican restaurant got everybody. And so in just one leg, I had 24 from foot to foot. That means they went all the way up the hill and all the way down. I had 65 bites. I know, but it doesn't stop there because I'm allergic. And so 65 bites turned into over half of them being swollen blisters of pain. And so we're there with family. I didn't want to be the sour person, so I'm trying my hardest. You know what I'm saying? If any of you have like an itch that you're trying to scratch, I'm over here scratching the palm as hard as I can. I'm just like, and my lovely wife, you know what she wants to do? Let's go hiking. I love this woman right here. We're good. We're 15 years. We'll do another 15 just fine. Just don't take me to the woods anymore. Here's where this came to me, because as we're there with family, our closest people, all I did was try to hide and cover the blisters. You came to church today, and some of you have blisters that you're hiding. Yeah, that's right. And you're walking and you're trying your absolute best to not make it known to everybody, and you're masking and you're saying everything is fine. Everything is fine. It's just a little blister. Everything is fine, yet inwardly, the Bible says inwardly, you're just wasting away and you're stuck right there. Paul writes a letter to Corinthians. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 4, and he's trying to encourage them, and he's saying, hey, inwardly you're wasting away. That's a fact, but outwardly you're being renewed day by day. He doesn't take away from the fact that, yes, you are in pain, but you got to keep your eyes on Jesus, the one who perfects your faith, who grows your faith, who is there for you, who helps you, who guides you. And today I want to encourage you that you might be here today blistered up, but Jesus. Here we are in 2 Kings chapter 5 with a man who was blistered up, covering it up, head to toe, all around him, trying to pursue this position at the best of his ability, but he knew it's only going to be an amount of time before I'm found out that I have leprosy, and I'll be locked away, thrown away, and won't be able to do what I love. So I'm going to paraphrase this for you so I can get into what I want to preach tonight. But as he is there, there's this young girl. We don't know how old this young girl specifically is. We know she's a young girl. We also know a little bit of her history. We know that the king of Aram was attacking Israel. We could speculate that it's possible that the king of Aram killed dad, took mother away, and stole daughter, and then now she is a slave to this general. That's what we could speculate. We don't know that, but that's what we could speculate. Somewhere in there, she recognizes that her master has a skin disease that will eventually lead to death, and she tells her master, the wife, she says, hey, if he would just go to this priest, he'll set him free. This is what we do when we talk about Jesus. If you'll just take that issue to your high priest Jesus, I'm telling you, he will set you free and you don't have to worry about anything. Is that not the good news? And so in that being the good news, Naaman is like, absolutely, I'll go. He builds all of his people up. He encourages, come on, we're going to go see this guy. He gets all of these gifts that he can offer to try to persuade the king. And he goes to the king of Israel. He has a conversation with the king of Israel. And he's like, I'm here so that you can heal me. The king of Israel scoffs at him. He's like, who do you think I am that I can heal? Rips his clothing. I don't know why they used to rip their clothing back in the day, but rips his clothing in despair. Elijah catches wind that the king of Israel is taking his clothes off. And so he's all like, hey, why don't you keep your clothes on and just send this guy to me, and I will show him what he is in search of. That's where we are. Verse 9. You with me? 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 9. So Naaman went with his horses and chariots and waited at the door of Elijah's house. But Elijah sent a messenger out to him with this message. Go and wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan. Then your skin will be restored and you will be healed of your leprosy. Now, I'm a 6-footer kind of person. I don't like people coming in close contact with me. So when COVID came by, I was like, sweet, now I have a reason to tell people to scoot back. But here it would look like Elijah was A, using wisdom. I don't want to catch leprosy. But B, recognize I don't have to be present for God to do his work. That's right. So good. Your pastor doesn't have to be present to make an impact. You don't have to be in Houston to make an impact. When you show up here and you congregate together, that does something for the body in Houston that you probably won't ever see. Wow. That's really good. Elijah comes and he tells his servant to tell the man to go somewhere else. He says, go and wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan. Then your skin will be restored and you will be healed. He had the direction that Naaman was supposed to go. Verse 11, but Naaman became angry and stalked away. If you don't know what this phrase means, this means that he walked away in a rage. This is like when you tell your 3-year-old you're not going to have any cake and they, make their scene. This is, we don't want to go too deep into that realm. But here, Naaman did not receive what he thought he was going to receive. We're going to go into this text a little bit deeper. Naaman had an expectation that he was going to receive something a certain way. And when he didn't get it the way that he thought, he said, no, if it's not going to happen in the lane that I want, then I don't want any part of it. If healing isn't going to come the way that I want it, if the church isn't going to build what I want it to build, I don't want any part of it. Pastor Ashley is not building whatever he wants. He's submitting himself to the Lord Jesus, who has ushered him to build something here, and you and I and my family get to be a part of what Jesus is wanting to do right here in Southwest Missouri. It's so good. Naaman, verse 11, became angry. And he leaves in a rage, and watch this, because I hear our pastor say, he says all the time, you need to fix your thinker. And so in Houston, we use this phrase all the time. We need to fix our thinker. Right here, Naaman said, I thought he would certainly come out to meet me. You see, I was traveling this long way to meet this guy, and I was sure I was going to see this image. I was sure that when I knocked on the door, that somebody would open the door and I had an expectation. I prayed for finances to come down, and what I got was a car. This is my story. I prayed that God would provide financially because I was hearing of all of my pastors receive checks in the mail. And I was like, all right, like I'm obedient, like I'm ready to receive, God's blessing. And I was given a broke down car. It was a blessing. It was God giving money. It's just not the way that I expected. It took a little bit of work to turn that car into money. Naaman was upset. He became angry. In our walk with the Lord, many times we will become angry because what we thought Jesus would do, he doesn't do. Can I be real? Can we go a little deeper? This is what I like to do. My wife, her mother passed away a couple years back. We had this expectation that when we would pray, she would be healed of a disease that was eating away internally. Outwardly, she was loving and praising the Lord. At every cancer center that she would go to, she would hand out tambourines and tell people to make a joyful noise to the Lord. She was of high hopes all the way into the end, until when she was in hospice, and we were praying that God would restore. At that time, a song came out, and the song went something like this. I'm not going to sing it, but it went something like this. It says, when you walk into the room, everything changes. So when we walk into the room and we prayed and nothing changed, that does something. That rocks your faith a little bit. Some of you are married and you're praying and you're expecting Jesus to miraculously do something, and then the response is the same. Some of you ministering to your kids who are lovely teenagers, but then they roll those eyes and you're hoping that it's a seizure. Maybe you're not hoping, but you're like, surely they're not disrespecting me. Surely this is... It's hard sometimes. I want to be honest. I want to be real. It is hard sometimes being a believer because we set an expectation of what we believe Christ should do. Naaman set this expectation. He says, I thought, certainly. Maybe you had this expectation when you came to church here and you thought because they say we're family, they would remember your birthday, and they forgot your birthday, and now you're kind of, don't laugh at me. and this might be somebody's story, you're laughing at them. And now you're hurt, and you've been carrying that for a while of just like, nobody even knows my name. This pastor from Houston came by and he introduced himself to me, and he forgot that he already knows me. If that's you, I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember all of my kids. So I got priorities here, But we have these expectations, and the expectations, I want to be very careful here. The expectations don't need to be lowered, but they need to be submitted to the Lord. They don't control our thinking, because if they do, it causes us to dip. Now, I've got to define this because I'm from Houston, and to say that we dip means we leave. Now, I hear that might have a different connotation here with some tobacco, and so I just want to make sure the title of my message is "It's Time to Dip." And so I didn't want you to walk out and immediately get tobacco and start like, Pastor said we got to dip, let's go. No. I mean, but there is a position where you are in life where you will dip. You will leave immediately because you're offended. You will leave immediately because it's not going your way. You will leave immediately because what you expected doesn't work. You'll go into a restaurant. You don't like the smell of it. You'll dip. You go into a church. You don't like that he didn't say good morning, you'll dip. You'll go into a work environment, you don't have any friends, you'll dip. You'll be in a relationship for a period of time, and then you don't get what you thought, what you expected, then you dip. That is the nature of the brokenness of people. And so what I want to encourage you is to dip, but to dip a different way. And if you know the story of Naaman, then you already know what we're going to talk about. Because Naaman is told to dip. He's told to go to that Jordan River and to dip 7 times. And instead of dipping the way the Lord had intended him to dip to be restored, he decided to dip and just go. He said, that is foolishness. This is the battle among most believers, is to hear biblical counsel and to say it's foolishness. Wow. There's nothing foolishness of the word. When money has you and you are a slave to money, you better put it in its place. Yeah. No, that'll never set me free financially. I'm just saying. When you have a hard heart and you want to be unforgiving, they don't deserve forgiveness. Yeah. Yeah. You don't understand my past, my story. Yeah. He says, go dip 7 times. Naaman. That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. I want to be honest with you because Pastor Ashley has shared multiple moments with me and Pastor Tim, and I have multiple times ended the phone call and said, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I am never doing that. And then I go and I do what they said, got a little flesh in me. There is a need to submit to counsel even when it doesn't make sense. Yeah. Here is the thinking that sometimes gets us, and I want to expose it right here. I want to allow the Lord, to expose the blisters that might be there, and that there is healing and there is restoration for you this evening. Naaman begins to compare. I mean, I could see where that could work, but there are cleaner rivers. There are better rivers. I hear what you're saying, but I don't think you fully know all the world has to offer. Yeah. Starts comparing them. There are better rivers in Israel. Why shouldn't I wash in those? Right. He didn't have a problem with the washing. Yeah. He had a problem with the washing in the specific location. Like, I can wash, but you want me to wash in that? You want me to have a conversation with the person I'm mad at? No, I can have a conversation with anybody. You want me to be a missionary at work? No, I could be a missionary in China. Like, nobody knows me there, but at work, everybody knows my mouth, my response. They know that I steal time. They're like, I can't minister there. Yeah, that's good. Man, that's good. Here Naaman is. I don't want to do that. Why shouldn't I wash in them and be healed? So Naaman dipped in a rage. He wasn't having it. But boy, is it good to have friends. Because his officers tried to use the logic with him and said, hey, man, like, if the prophet would have told you to do something really difficult, wouldn't you have done it? Like, if it would have been like, hey, right now your marriage will be healed. All you got to do is 10 grand. 10 grand and you'll never fight ever again. 10 grand, you'll never have to go camping. You know what? Today only, right now, right here, you can do $1,000. Your kid will never throw another fit ever again. Come on, somebody like, yes? Yes? Okay, I got one taker over there. Anybody else? Would you not do it if it was difficult? He's trying to reason with him. Hey, man, what else you got to lose? You're going to die anyways. Shouldn't you obey when he simply says, go and wash and be cured? Verse 14, so Naaman went down to the Jordan. I wonder what his thinking was. This is how I like to read the word. Like, I read the word, I love the word, and it like comes out like a story. Like, this is because it is, right? Like, it's like I'm there. I would imagine he wasn't like, okay, I'm going to the Jordan. Like, I would imagine there is probably this like, I don't want to go. This is the dumbest thing, but I want to do it anyways. This is what Jesus shares a parable of a man who said he was going to do something and didn't do it. And then of another one who said he wasn't going to, but did do it. And he's asking the religious leaders, which one is more obedient, like which one did right? He was obviously the one who said he wasn't going to do it, but did it anyways. And so here Naaman, though he might not have the right response or attitude, he is walking in obedience. You don't always have to like what you are walking out. I can't preach this tonight. Maybe I'll come back and preach this, but there is this philosophy that says that if you don't experience peace or if you don't have joy, then you shouldn't go do it because God wouldn't ask you to do something that you are not at peace with. I want to highlight Christ went to the cross and considered it joy, but I would imagine while he was doing it, he was not super excited. Like, oh, I feel great about going to the cross. Like a part of him was probably in agony. Father, I don't want to go do this. Take this cup from me, but not my will, yours be done, is a representation that he wasn't excited about dying for us, yet he did it anyways in obedience because that's why he came. We don't always have to like it, but we got to obey. And here Naaman, in full obedience, chooses to walk down and apply what seems so small and insignificant. So he goes down to the river. He dips himself 7 times, as the man of God had instructed, and his skin became as healthy as the skin of a young child, and he was healed. Chapman, we don't get a lot of context here. If it was like dip, and then a little bit is better, and dip, and we don't know. We don't know if it was the last moment that he dipped, and he came back. Can you imagine going down in the water, coming back up, nothing changed? Sure you can. It's like you apply the principles that they teach here, and you go back and you have a good response to your spouse, and they still cut you under. Or you go to work and you're honest, and you share with them that maybe you were stealing time, and then you get fired. Or you go to work and you try to minister, and because you are now a confessing Christian, you then get laid off because they don't want Christians working there. Like you get the back end of a stick, and it could feel like, man, like this is not what I signed up for. But in every moment, in every pursuit, it's like God is doing something a little deeper and deeper and deeper in your life. Even though we don't see it, we know that he's moving. I believe that's a song of Waymaker. I don't have to see it to know that God is doing something. I have to trust the progress. And so there Naaman is, and he's dipping, and he's dipping. This is different. It's a different kind of dip. He decided to stay instead of to leave. He decided to go in, as foolish that it looks, in front of all of his peers, in front of all the officers, and do something that looks so foolish in the eyes of other people. In some scummy, dirty water, little did he know that the Jordan had so much significance to the Lord. And he's washing him, and every moment there is the application. God is doing something deeper. As he's going down under, God is doing something deeper. And at the 7th time, in that moment, he gets up out of that water, and he looks at himself, and he's like, what in the world? I'm healed. He had no idea that it would truly work. There was an essence of faith, I would imagine a small essence of faith of just like, maybe there can be something here. He comes out of that water healed. I have these bites, and they were, y'all, if I could show you a picture of them, it would gross you out. Okay, I'm just saying, like my girls are like, ugh, Dad, put it away. Like, that's disgusting. I'm telling you, yeah. And I am not a pool person. I don't like water, mainly because I don't know how to swim. I know I'm Hispanic, and we're supposed to know how to swim. Stop. Okay. Sorry. You can explain that one later if you needed to, yeah. So I don't like water. My kids know it, but there was something about the water. They had a saltwater pool, and every time I would get in the water, I just felt better. Like I'd get in that water, and immediately, all the pain, all the itchiness, all the sore, the moment that my feet would touch the water and my body would go in, it would immediately go away. It is how some of you experience church. As soon as you walk in that door, it's like immediately, I don't have to feel what I've been feeling. Then you leave, and you're reminded of the blisters that are there, and the pain that is there, and the agony that is there. So you wait till Wednesday, and you wait till Sunday, and it's a cycle from Wednesday to Sunday, and you're leaving not healed, not restored, but you leave, at least I had a moment where I felt good. This church is not about giving you a moment to feel good. This church is committed to healing, allowing the Lord to heal and then to send you out healed and restored. But it's going to take time of you coming and dipping in the water and dipping in the water and dipping in the water. Because it doesn't happen by just one moment. It doesn't happen with one conversation with Jesus. It's time after time. The marriage doesn't happen with just one good conversation. It's one good one, 7 bad ones, one good one, 8 bad ones, one good one, 52 bad ones, and then it's like, hey, that's another good one. The word just gets better. Because he is healed. Verse 15, Naaman and his entire party went back to find the men of God. They stood before him, and Naaman said, now I know that there is no other God. So I just love the whole word because the whole word speaks. Many of you are familiar with Job. And Job loses everything. And at the end of Job, he goes, I once heard about you. But after all of that, now I know you. Maybe you're here this evening and you've heard about Jesus. And you've heard about Jesus. And you've come to the pool and things have been good in the pool and you're enjoying the pool because you get relief. But then you leave and you're still stuck. At 2 o'clock in the morning, you're still stuck with a computer image. At 2 o'clock in the morning, you're still stuck and you're feeling empty and dry. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, when nobody's around and you're in your own room and you're left to your own thoughts, you then begin to battle of who you really are. And nobody knows who that is. And you've been hiding the blisters in the areas of your life. You've been covering them up. See, the crazy thing is that Naaman had to travel to the Jordan. You don't. You just got to travel to church, not to the building. The Bible says where 2 or more are gathered, there he is. So at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, that tool that has kept you captive becomes to become a tool that leads you on your journey. And if you're a young person, you dial Chapman's number. Or an older person, I don't know. If you're a young lady, you get Melanie's number. The tool that was leading you far from Christ that nobody knows, and now is a tool that leads you closer to him. But restoration only comes to those who are willing to walk and look foolish and dip themselves over and over and over and over and over and over again, even if they don't physically see something changing right now. I want to encourage you. I want to motivate you. You are a born-again believer. So what Naaman had to walk out and learn was that he had to believe that the power, the healing power would be there. Then he had to obey. Then he had to do that on repeat. I got to believe it. Got to obey. I got to believe it. I got to obey. I got to believe it. I got to obey. And as he experienced healing, he now had to walk out that faith continually. That's what it looks like to be born. Believe, obey, repeat.